Hi guys, in this review I'll be checking out the Exploter ApplePie AI-900 RK. This is a Android AI box for Apple CarPlay systems, which offers wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. It offers USB playback as well, and big Android operating system brings some pre-installed apps from the likes of Netflix, YouTube. It runs off an Android 9 operating system with 2 GB of RAM and 32 GB of storage for local based media should you want to copy it over. There's a 4-core CPU, so it's not the most powerful, but it might just be sufficient enough to run these particular pre-installed apps. And there's also over-the-air upgrades, so you can keep this box nice and up to date, as well as tackle any compatibility issues that you might face with your car. Okay, so let's see what's inside the box. Okay, so here's what you get inside the box. You get the AI-900 RK itself in its quite unique little car case design. This isn't anything new, we've seen this before from Exploter as well. They look pretty much identical in terms of their casings and their heatsink and their carbon fiber effect bottom there, as well as USB-C input ports to power the adapter and the status indicator rear lights and the USB-A port for an additional media. Whereas this ApplePie Lite was just wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, this AI-900 RK adds the additional Android platform. So it has the additional Android apps for Netflix, YouTube, Spotify and Google Maps. So although the price is very good in consideration, if they don't sell this anymore, this is actually quite a bit of an upgrade because it does allow you to run YouTube, Netflix and a few other apps on top of wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. We've gone over the car itself. There's a heatsink on the bottom there to keep things cool. Not much other passive holes around, and you've got these status LEDs at the back here to let you know what's going on once you've got this thing powered up and operational. We get a small USB-A to USB-C power cable and a USB-A to C adapter, so you can actually plug this into more modern CarPlay vehicles with just a USB-C port. So that's the AI-900 in a nutshell. I'll get this on my internal CarPlay system and get this loaded up with my streaming accounts before I jump into the Golf and see how well this works.
A few moments later.
Right, so we're in the Golf and we've got our ApplePie AI-900 RK here ready to go, and the cable's all pre-attached. We're going to plug this end in our CarPlay port and let's see how fast the boot up time is. And we're in. We're using my home Wi-Fi. I'm not using a tethered, but that's the only solution that you'd have with this particular adapter. There's no SIM card tray or slot, so you will need to tether your phone to this adapter. And now that we're in the main menu, you've got a nicer looking menu launcher compared to the most launchers that are out there. It's still the same 3 panels pretty much. You've got media playback. That's going to do a speedo as you move, and you can see this slightly out of alignment here, and it is a little bit squashed. The resolution of this wallpaper is not really matching what the resolution of my car is. Not a problem though. And you've got the date and time. You've got shortcuts to the ability to launch wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. Doesn't really matter which one it is. You've got one area just to access it. You've got 5 icons here that, as far as I know, can't be changed. And then you've got a quick access to the Android 9 OS settings, as well as ApplePie settings, which isn't really much apart from GPS pass-through, country code that you're in, and any update logs and version numbers that you're currently using at the moment. One thing I must add is that you've got a persistent top navigation bar at the top here, so you can go back, you can go straight back to home, and here's like your app switcher, which you can go between the very apps that you've had running previously, or you can clear it all to free up some memory, which is quite good to see. And it's persistently across the top, so you can always get access to it. Much better than a floating button, in my opinion. Thinks we're going now 4 kilometers an hour. You can swipe this screen and then you go to all the various other apps that are available. And because it's Android, you can pull down and you can get access to Bluetooth, speaker, volume, and so on. And tapping the center icon will take you straight to the Maps app. So this will be a good test of how fast the Maps app takes to get in there. Here it's all previously loaded up. It's a little bit laggy, but it's what you expect with a lower spec CPU in this adapter. So you get lots of missed touches, missed hits, because it's trying to keep up with as you're moving about the maps up here. But it's keeping a nice high resolution here, which is good. There is an additional settings area. You can go into car settings app, and from here you can turn whether you want to watch video whilst you're driving, set music to auto play, choose which navigation program you would like to use if you've got more than one installed. Speed correction, you can probably set that so that it doesn't get confused with the GPS. And then you've got screensaver if you want it to run a screensaver whilst you're driving, what type of digital clock you want to do, and obviously the wallpaper. You've got some moving live wallpapers here, and you've also got some static wallpapers to choose from, and this all can be set between the home screen and the main menu as well. So if we set this wooden wallpaper, we can set it to the home screen, then we go back home. It will use it in the background there, but it won't get rid of it. It won't replace the one in the middle. However, if you do swipe across, it replaces the one with all the icons on. So this is the main screen, so you have to go back in there. Unfortunately, you can't choose it together, so you'd have to choose that again, set the wallpaper and set it to the car screen. And then when you go back home, it's replaced that, even though this still persists across the bottom in its orange format, which is unfortunate. But that replaces the whole background in menu. And you can add your own custom one if you want your own images and so on. So you've got your normal suite of pre-installed apps from the Google suite of apps, including the Play Store. So it's an open AI box, it's not a closed one. Access to via your phone to Bluetooth and Bluetooth music if you don't want to use CarPlay. Quick access to settings and file managers. Then you've got music and video for local based video and music playback. YouTube, Spotify, and then you've got a DSP, so you can actually override the sound settings and have some DSP settings here, as well as turning on surround and bass boost and play around with your balance if your car doesn't support that, as well as Netflix. And then we've got the X-Link for wireless CarPlay. These are the ones I've installed from the Google Play Store. And then lastly, you've got the updater, so you can do over-air updates. You can check whilst you're connected to the internet if there's any versions. I did have this during the installation phase on the CarPlay ride, and I had to go through nearly 5 updates separately to get it to where we are now, which is the 8th of December 2023. There's no other updates since then, but it's nice that you can actually get those updates over the air without having to go through websites, USB drives and so on. Okay, so we've looked at Maps, our test app, for the launch test of that. Let's go into YouTube. Again, it uses a similar tablet kind of format with the menu down the side here, which is a little bit nicer than some YouTube apps on some AI boxes that are out there. We'll test the audio sync. So I think we're about 200 milliseconds out here, which is better than some, which is sometimes some of them are in 300 milliseconds. So that's not a bad test for YouTube video. But in practice, let's just test out what it's like with voice. So you can see it really does struggle with the 1080p 60 video. It's a lot more jerky, and that's the performance issue with this adapter. So you really do need to step this down.
I've covered many wireless Apple CarPlay dongles on this channel, and a popular question I always get is, what is the best?
So that's a little bit better. The voice is a lot better in sync when you do lower the resolution, so you can't really pump that resolution that quite high. But at 480p, it's pretty much passable to watch in the car. You can try 720p. It's a little bit better, but there is a little bit of delay or lag in the performance of producing the video rather than the audio delay. So it's a little bit jerky. So that lags behind, and then so does the audio along with it. So that's YouTube, Netflix. Again, not the fastest to get in there, but it gets in there eventually, and scrolling is not too bad. Test some audio. Right, I'm struggling with the internet here on my home Wi-Fi, so I will now tether to the adapter just to give you an idea as to how that works. So first we need to do a personal hotspot from your phone. So that's now running on my phone up here, and then I'm going to search for Wi-Fi connections. So now connected and tethered to my iPhone, you can see here, and that's the Wi-Fi symbol for my phone. So we're going to load up Netflix.
The overtake on Valtteri created this spark and this tension between the two of us.
So that all works really well. It's in stereo, sounds great. All audio is in sync as well, a little bit better than YouTube, which is quite common on my platform here in the Gulf. There's a little bit of stuttering with frame rates and stuff. That could just be the CPU that's inside this, but as you saw there, it's generally all right for casual viewing. Okay, Spotify. Again, this is using my phone to tether for the connection, and everything's all loaded in. Took a bit longer. Again, that could be my connection as well as the performance of the CPU, but generally loading in the tiles and stuff as you're scrolling is going to put some pressure on this performance, but once they're all loaded in, it seems to work okay. Let's go in with some audio. Sounds good. Wheel controls, they all work okay. And backwards, that all sounds good and looks good.
The Beatles.
Okay, stereo separation in the Spotify app on Android is good as well. So just quickly, you got music and video as well. I've just installed 2 files directly on the actual adapter itself through the USB port. So I've plugged in a USB drive and copied the files across, so now they're running natively on the actual stick itself. So that's just music playing out. You can go back to the main menu and actually interact with your music on the main menu as well. As for video,
one must destroy in order to create. We are no Jedi.
that sounds good to me. Audio in sync, playing locally off the stick itself, but the same would be from a USB drive instead. And you would just simply plug in a USB drive like this into the back there, and then you've got access to your music and videos directly through either the music or the video app that's running on the device. So if I go to video here and I go back to the home screen, here's all the ones I've got on my USB drive. So let's try the bird. So a little bit of a frame stutter there, but it seems to cope quite well. No pixelation down here, which is quite common on low-end devices. So it seems to handle the high bitrate video quite well. And obviously, if you haven't got the apps that you want, you can just simply go into the Google Play Store, download anything you want, such as like Waze, Disney Plus, Hulu, etc. if they're in your region and are available. If they're not available, you can use the Chrome browser and search for those APK files on APK mirror sites and use the file manager to install them that way. So it says the app won't work Disney Plus on this device. So we go into the Chrome browser, search for APK mirror, then go to apkmirror.com, search for the app that you require, and then you need to find like the mobile version or the tablet version of Disney Plus, and then hit the download link to the available download, and then just choose the no DPI one and download the APK. So we're going to download it into our download folder on the actual device itself. It will give us a harmful warning, so do be careful what files you download. Going to tap here for details, and then we open it, install the application. Again, this can take some time depending on what you're actually installing and how big the file is. App is now installed, so we're going to open it up. And that's the Disney Plus app all ready to go to log into your account. And that will be now sitting in the tray of all the other apps that you've installed as well. So I've downloaded a few games. Asphalt 8 was a real big challenge to get running on this because it is quite a low-end CPU. But you can play quite lightweight 2D games, such as things like Candy Crush. So that all runs well on Candy Crush, because it's such a low, lightweight game, and it works perfectly with a touchscreen as well. Angry Birds is a little bit more, because it's physics-based, it can chug a little bit. So it really does depend on what type of games that you want to play on this. But because the low-end CPU in it and the low RAM, it will struggle with some high-end games. So you don't want to do some gaming on this CarPlay display, then do check out my other video of the ApplePie Rocket, which has plenty of hardware under the hood to game with. So that's gaming in a nutshell. Let's have a look at wireless CarPlay now. So wireless CarPlay uses quite a new app for me actually, is X-Link. Very much similar to all the others, SpeedPlay, MultiPlay, Z-Link and so on. And this is the settings screen, so there isn't much that you can actually do apart from auto connect, which might help with multi-phone users in the car. And there's a Bluetooth option there should you want to toggle between devices as well. Quite a nice touch. So basically you get your iPhone here and you search for the Bluetooth profile, which is CarBT, then pair it, and we're in. So I'd say that's about 13-14 seconds. I'll put down here what it actually is. So everything runs okay. It's about 150 megabits per second, which is all CarPlay wirelessly needs. I sometimes think that if you've got more bandwidth, it's going to be a bit more reliable and stable. We can't change the left and right nature of the display, specifically in the UK, so that's annoying. Can't have this dock on the right hand side in CarPlay here, but everything runs pretty okay. Bit of a wiggle, so it takes some time for the content to display. So it's not the quickest, but again, hardware that we're running at the moment and the stream that it's casting from the phone might be a factor as well here. Let's test the audio.
Hi, this is Anthony from CarPlayLife.com, and this is an audio test using the ApplePie AI-900 RK, and this is an audio test.
Okay, that sounds a little bit weird, like it's coming through a different channel, and it sounds like it's on my right-hand side rather than in stereo. Let's just quickly do some music playback to make sure that the sound has switched back. No, it's bottoming out again. So something wrong there with the audio connection, and it just wants to crash out the whole entire device connection really for Siri. But let's try and play some music back again. So it's playing out. Whoa. So that took some time to find its way around. So wheel controls, they work okay. Forward and backward. So the audio is playing back again. Takes some time to kick in, but it has kicked back in and the audio sounds okay again. So let's do a call delay test. You can already hear it's a little bit tinny. Hello?
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 Hello? So not too bad, less than a second probably, so that'd be okay for calling, but I would be a bit worried about the call quality being a little bit distant and a little bit tinny compared to what CarPlay should normally sound like when it's connected to a wire. Okay, so that's CarPlay in a nutshell. Some good bits, some bad bits. Let's go over to Android Auto now. So here we have our Android Auto device here. We do the same process of connecting to the Bluetooth connection. We tap on pair. And we're in. Slight squashed icons, I can see that immediately already. And it seems fairly okay, quite responsive. Full screen there instead of the side. We would normally do a side here, so we are on a lower resolution than what my car would normally be if it was wired. Performance is not too bad though. Slightly blurry, so it's not full native resolution as it would be if it was wired. There are other AI boxes that do that a little bit better, but obviously cost more money as well. So audio playing's okay, wheel controls, they all work okay as well, backwards and forwards, but everything looks okay. If you don't mind the sort of slightly squashed resolution nature of it. Let's just test out another call. Hello?
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 Okay, that's good. Quite good, rapid send and receive in the call. Call sounded quite good, actually sounded a little bit better than CarPlay actually. So generally responsive. It does wireless Android Auto straight away. Didn't have any reconnection issues. And it seems to pair quite quickly with it too. So that is Android Auto. Even though it does have a USB port, it doesn't have wired pass-through on that USB port. That USB port is just for charging the device. You can do it that way, and for media. That's all it's really used for, and updating if you can't do the over-the-air stuff as well, perhaps. So the ApplePie AI-900 RK retails for $49.99, and you can check out my links down below if you're interested in buying one of these and support the channel. It's a very good price, an extremely good price, considering you could get a CarLink Kit Mini for more than this AI box, and you don't have any of this Android functionality at all. So retailing this at such a competitive price. But there is a trade-off with that price, is that you are getting a very low-end AI box, and it probably isn't going to perform that well on Android Auto and CarPlay wirelessly either. If I did want to get a box that was just wireless CarPlay or Android Auto, I would just get a dedicated box just for that. But if you are interested in YouTube and Netflix and you don't mind the slight delay and you don't really want to use SIM support, then this is actually quite a nice early entry. Quite a token throwaway bit of money really, isn't it? To at least try that out on your system for the same price as a wireless adapter, or less than, in fact. We've seen that CarPlay does perform not the best. That is expected with this low CPU inside here. Don't even think about multitasking on this device. It really will struggle with that. And any high-end games or applications will struggle with that too. But as video streaming goes, YouTube, Netflix, the casual Spotify and watching of local files that you have on the USB drive, this actually will do quite a good enough job at that, should that interest you for things like charging in the car, for example. You've got some level of customization here. It's got a very nice launcher. It works with the hotspotting just fine. Obviously, you won't be able to do wireless CarPlay and YouTube simultaneously. You will have to switch between the connection. options, and there is no Bluetooth support. There's no remote or controller support on this adapter. So if you do have a dial knob control interface like an Audi or a BMW, that might struggle with text input with the keyboard, for example, when you haven't got a touchscreen to use. So AI boxes in this price range are normally closed operating systems, so you can't actually install native apps onto the actual AI box. The fact that they give you access to Google Play is really, really good considering the price. That means it's not closed, it's open. You can download any app from the App Store as well as APK Mirror site, get those apps on your device onto the AI-900. The audio playback on YouTube is actually okay on my system. There is a slight delay, let's be honest, but you have to be really looking for it to be out of sync. So for casual viewing, I think that would be acceptable. Same with Netflix, that looks great too. And the local media file playback audio sync is good too. So generally for video playback, this is the kind of power that you already need really. But if you were to multitask, it would start to fall over and potentially crash on you as well sometimes. Again, it is Android 9, so you are limited on the types of apps from the Play Store that you are able to download onto it. There is no upgrades as far as I know, so you are stuck on Android 9. So as soon as those apps come out of that range, then you might not be able to use those again. So that is one thing you have to have foresight for. But yeah, then you come back to the price of it. You could just buy another one that they might release with a newer Android operating system in the future. The dongle does run quite hot when you're running it intensely as well, so that's one thing to bear in mind. Have this pointing upwards, I would recommend, so it can cool itself down a little bit faster. But video shouldn't really overheat this too much. It's really when you're running the games and doing lots of multitasking where you probably could overheat this dongle. So overall, price is the key factor here on this AI box. It's a really easy, low entry ticket to get access to an AI box over a wireless one instead. So should you be looking for a little bit extra than your wireless adapter, then might be something that you might want to check out. All right, thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful. Give us a thumbs up if it has, and let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions about the AI-900 RK, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.